welcome back to my channel. My name is Claire and today we are just stripping it down to a very simple, very straightforward editing blog. I have a bit of a time limit because a close friend of mine who is pretty intimately involved with my story, knows a lot about it, knows where I'm going with it, is going on a trip tomorrow, and she wants me to send my Act 2 outline to her to read through during her trip so she can send notes back. So if you saw last week's vlog, then you know that I completed writing out the outline for all of my Act 2. It is Monday and I'm going to use the majority of my day today to go through my outline, see if I can find any immediate inconsistencies or just chapters I'm not feeling, conflicts that I don't think are hashed out properly, and see if I can kind of nip them in the butt or flesh them out today. Like, there's definitely a few chapters I'm already thinking of that have caused me a little bit of turmoil, have been kind of difficult, or I'm just not sure that I'm hitting the emotional beats correctly, and I might not be able to figure it out myself. I might need a second pair of eyes to, look at this from a different angle and tell me at the very least what's wrong with it and why it's not working. If not, bounce ideas on how to fix it. So I'm going to get started and then I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Okay, so right now I'm actually on the last chapter. Glanced at the dialogue and immediately realized something that wasn't working, and so I've been going through it and trying to tweak it. I think that's something I'm definitely going to have to focus on for the second act as a whole, because I have actually quite a few extremely important dialogue exchanges where there's these huge emotional moments for the characters, but also getting across a lot of information to the reader. So it's very important that I hash these out correctly. Like I said, I'm focusing on my last chapter, but once I'm done with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and boop back to the top, and I think just read it straight through and then just see what needs fixing, what pops out to me. Act 2, as it stands right now, consists of 15 chapters. My Act 1 consisted of 10, and I suspect my Act 3 will also consist of about 10. It also has a lot more varying chapter lengths. My Act 1 was pretty consistent from chapter to chapter with how long they were, but there are definitely some, especially the more action-driven ones, that are very short, at least in outline form, like half a page, where other ones that have a lot more dialogue and plot and blah 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 are like 2 to 3 pages long with the outline. I also changed the spacing, so it's just a little bit more space between each bullet point, so I think it's a little easier on the eyes. So with all that, I am at a smooth 35 pages, which probably seems a little intimidating for an outline, but again, part of that was just formatting. Alright, so I am on page 19 out of 35. I have been steadily working on this for like the past 5 hours or so. Not that there has been a lot of changes, but every chapter I go over definitely needs some sort of change, especially towards the beginning, because I kind of started off formatting this outline completely differently than how I ended up formatting it. And then I also did something towards the beginning where, like, even if there was a really important dialogue exchange, instead of Act actually writing out what I think that dialogue is gonna be. I just was like, and a fight happens. I was just being lazy, but I was like, no, I'm going to actually take the time to write this out because ultimately that's gonna make it easier on me in the long run. So now I'm over halfway done editing, but I'm kind of hitting a wall. So my friend's plane doesn't take off until like 3 tomorrow. I'm just gonna get up early and get working on this early and hopefully have it done and sent off and out of my hair tomorrow afternoon. That would be ideal because I also just want to get this done so I can start actually working on my second act. So with all that being said, I will check in with you guys tomorrow morning. Everyone, so I've been working on this outline for the last hour and I'm on page 25 out of 36, and granted the pages are now adjusting because I'm removing and adding stuff along the way, but I still have about, I think, like a quarter or a third to go. I have the latter half of this outline formatted correctly, where the first half was a little bit more all over the place, so then I had to modify it. And now I'm dealing with a lot more dialogue too. And that's really fun, and I think one of my strengths. And it's always something that I can change once I actually start writing the chapters. This is more to get an idea of how the conversation is gonna go and making sure that I'm like kind of hitting all the right beats. But because it's literally just dialogue, almost like a script, there's no taglines, there's no sense of emotion that's building when you have a conversation. So that's something that's just gonna read differently once I actually write it out. Another thing that I've been doing, and it is very much subject to change, is I'm putting chapter names. So I've been going through and kind of throwing out what I think the names could be. And again, depending on how this all gets edited and put together in the future, plus just more time, I'll probably think of better chapter titles, but I think they're so fun. It's difficult because it has to be so concise, but it's fun to think of like the themes or kind of like important moments, but you don't want to give anything away, but also seeing if you can do like a play on words, just something that's vivid and exciting. Anyway, that's what I'm working on right now, and I will check in with you guys in a little bit. All right, so I officially finished up revising and doing some editing on my Act 2 outline, and I'm going to send it out to a couple of friends and try to get some immediate feedback. Going through it a second time, I feel pretty confident in a lot of the things that I'm doing. There's definitely like a few moments or a few chapters I want feedback on, as while this is a fantasy world, it's pretty grounded. I take a little inspiration from mythological Celtic creatures, but other than that, any sort of magic or mysticism is very, very, very minimal. It's important to me that what happens, even though it's heightened and it's entertaining, it still feels very believable. But there's a lot of moments in here, including new moments and new scenes, that I'm very excited about. I wanted to talk a little bit about dialogue. So, like I said, I really worked on my dialogue sections, which was really easy to do because it was just like a script, back and forth, back and forth. What I really liked about having this outline to work from is because I just had it very blunt, no dialogue tags, nothing to break it up. I could really see what parts of their dialogue felt unnecessary. And part of it, again, this is an outline, so I'm kind of over explaining things at first to make sure that whoever I send it off to, and even myself in the future, understand like where I am in the story and what the characters are feeling. But When it comes to the dialogue, I try to keep it character specific. So there are some characters who purposely go into more detail or run on sentences and stuff like that. But even then, I want to make sure that the information is concise, because then I feel like it makes it more poignant and more powerful. So being able to really look at it without any tags or any action between it and just be like, okay, what are these characters trying to get across to each other, and is it effective? I actually found that to be extremely helpful, and I never considered how outlining for dialogue could be effective before, because I've always considered outlines more something to nail down plot. And I guess I've always written dialogue from a very pantser character point of view, and from a lot of ways I still have. There were plenty of scenes and plenty of dialogue exchanges and character moments that I pantsed in the outline, but now I just feel more comfortable with how it fits in with the rest of the story. So anyway, that's where I'm at involving my outline. I'm gonna send that out right now, and then tomorrow I'm going to be working on the actual chapters themselves. So thank you so much for watching this little mini writing, editing, outline vlog. I hope you find it useful to watch how I'm breaking down my process, and that this whole writing journey, it's not just a one and done, like it's constant work, constant revision, constant editing. And for me anyway, to really form my ideas and to get them across in the best way possible, it takes a lot of reworking. Leave any comments or questions or anything like that down below. Give it a like if you want more writing vlogs in the future, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!